Today, we're going to talk about the big three of adulthood because you hear this all the time. Start with the end in mind. And this was a phrase coined by Stephen Covey. I love his work, I love his books, but it might not be that helpful if you don't know what the end should look like. So instead of going from an educational perspective, like what should your kids know by the end of their education? Because honestly, that's up to you and them, and maybe some state standards. But what does the end in mind look like from an like adult maturational level? Let's just talk about it. There's the big three, and this is what everybody says your kids should know to be a successful, functioning adult in society. Number one, they need to be able to take responsibility for themselves. Now, we live in the age of victim claiming and victimhood. And if I'm offended, you're responsible. And if you hurt my feelings, I'm not going to talk to you. And I might even cut you off for all time because we don't want to take responsibility for ourselves. But mature adulthood demands that we do. And we need to teach our kids that they have to take responsibility for ourselves. Now, listen, I've said this so many times before. Parents, you are not necessarily the number one influence in your kid's life, and you need to take this seriously. If you want to be, you have to control your kids' content consumption. And that doesn't just mean social media, it means videos, it means movies, and it means any kind of music they're listening to. Because they have a lot coming at them in the world, and a lot of that, which is coming at them, is saying, people need to take care of you. You're probably not as tough as people are assuming, and your feelings are of utmost importance. And I have a mental health background. Feelings are important. We should take note of them, but they're actually not truth and they're actually not fact. It's a feeling, it's informative. So, how do we teach our kids to take responsibility and accept responsibility? That means we need to give them opportunities to be responsible. As homeschool parents, we often want to make things so easy for our kids, and we want to make sure that they have all the fun and all the benefits of this amazing life that we've provided for them. As parents, we want good things for our kids, right? It's just part of parenthood. It's part of loving our kids. But sometimes we need to give them opportunities to fail so that they can fail forward. You know, Elon Musk is putting a rocket into space every single month this year. That's 12 rockets. He expects 60 to 80% of them to blow up because he is going to fail forward to success. He has an end in mind, he has a goal that he's working to reach, and he's fine if he fails towards success because he knows that failure often gets you to the next spot. It's just scientific method at work. We're going to put this theory out there. We're going to test the theory. We're either going to figure out what didn't work and keep going forward, etc. So, accepting responsibility. Give your kids things to be responsible for. If they want chickens, give them a budget of $200 to build a chicken fed, build a chicken, build a chicken shed, and buy feed for the chickens for a month, and then let them figure it out. They have to find the plans for the chicken shed. They have to purchase the materials for the shed. Why am I stumbling over that word so much? Shed and fed, same kind of thing. They have to get the food. They have to research the chickens. This is a great project for your kids, and it will teach them responsibilities. Now, I mentioned this story as we've been going to conventions. Sometimes taking responsibilities means that things happen and there's failure involved, and that's okay. That's just part of learning. My daughter has two Aussie dogs. They're super, super fun dogs, really sweet, really well trained. They know a lot of tricks, and she was taking them on a walk a couple weeks ago. And around here in the middle of nowhere in the country, the fields are used in the spring to for cows, and then they gather the cows in and they take the wire down and they loop it and put it at the end of the fence posts. Well, she was out walking our dogs a couple weeks ago, and our little dog jumped across a fence into the field, and she got hung on wire. And my daughter ran over a mile, around a mile, to come home to tell me that the dog was dying. She ran to get wire cutters. We got in the car and zoomed back to where the dog was, thankfully still alive, and she cut the wire off of her neck. However, it took about a half an hour, and during that time, our dog was actively dying. So her eyes were rolling back. She was barfing up foam. She was in bad shape. And it's only, honestly, by my daughter's quick thinking that she saved the life of our little dog. And for about a week after that, our dog was not in good shape. We took her to the vet. her eyes were totally bloodshot and bulging out of her of their sockets, et cetera, et cetera. And now she's fully recovered. But sometimes taking responsibility means taking responsibility when things go south. And we don't like that. It's no fun when things don't go the way that they're supposed to go. But that is just part of taking responsibility. Taking responsibility means that you get to be faithful to do the thing, but you don't necessarily get to determine the outcome. That's somebody else's pay grade. It's called God. He gets to determine the outcomes of all that we do. But teaching our kids to take responsibility is the number one way that you can teach them to be functioning, amazing adults. Number two, make independent decisions. And this gets back to not planning and micromanaging everything for your kids. I'm not saying, be age appropriate and that kind of thing. But if your kids want chickens, let them do the research. Let them make independent decisions. If you don't like the chicken shed plans that they picked out and you gave them a budget, just hands off. Let them figure it out. Your kids are more resilient, have more creativity than you're probably giving them credit for. And letting them just decide things without your being in the midst of it can really boost their maturational ability and help them, walk into being a functioning adult. That's what we want for our kids, right? And then lastly, becoming financially independent. Now, our kids are financially dependent on us. That's just how that goes, right? Because they're children, and that's fine. But helping them learn how to make money and how to manage money and how to steward money. Like a lot of us are really good at making money. Some of us are really good at not keeping it. Some of us are really good at saving it. So some of it has to do with personality. Of course, it has to do with how we were raised, what we saw our parents and other people around us doing with money. But helping our kids become financially independent. How do you make money? How do you save money? How do you give money? How do you invest money? How do you steward money? All those things, so important. And if we never give our kids money and then when they're 18 say, we expect you to go to college and we know we're only going to be able to cover half of it, so figure out the rest, that might be putting unrealistic expectations on them because the days of working at McDonald's and paying off student what it costs to go to college, those are over. The college I went to cost $20,000 for a 4-year degree. That college now costs $37,000 for 1 year, and most of our kids are graduating in 6 years, not 4. I know I'm beating this drum, but we have to really be aware of the debt that our kids are accruing if they go on to higher education. And they might not need to become financially independent and even financially really successful because there's so many opportunities available to our kids with online positions and jobs and opportunities that they could create and make up. We started video editing as a class at True North Homeschool Academy because a mom came to us and said, my son wants to be the next big YouTube star. Ha 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 ha. And we're like, oh my gosh, there's no reason why they couldn't. So we've been teaching video editing for a couple of years now, and such a great class. So give your kids those skills and tools, video editing, graphic design, how to podcast. We're offering all those classes as part of our marketable skills electives because we believe that the world is changing. We need to equip our kids well. And there's no reason that they can't start earning money in high school. Our kids have done farm labor, they've cleaned some horse stalls, they've done cleaning for people, they've done painting and roofing and drywalling in high school. Of course, you have to help them gain those skills and acquire those skills, teach them those skills. But we didn't know those skills either. We learned those skills from our house rebuild, some of them, but also just giving your kids a work ethic and making sure that they know that hard work can actually mean that you accrue some hard cash, right? We live in the world of meritocracy still in America, which is such a blessing. The effort that we put out, we're rewarded for. I mean, sometimes, back to my point before, when you accept responsibility, things don't always go the way that they're supposed to or that you want them to. But often we do live in a society where the hard work and the effort that we put out, we are rewarded for. So just helping your kids become financially independent, there's no reason they can't mow lawns or shovel sidewalks or do some graphic design for a small business. It was interesting to me at some of the conventions that we've been at already this spring that there were so many young adults who had booths, and some of them had written novels, but some of them were doing marketing, and some of them had business and services for the homeschool community. So help your kids really think that way. Entrepreneurship, again, I am going to just beat this drum for a long time. Your kids should have an entrepreneurship class in high school. Create one or take ours at True North Homeschool Academy. The benefit of ours is that they get to do that really super cool Shark Tank challenge every semester, and the kids love it. I know that we're going to see some of the things that our kids have developed and created in some big stores sometime soon. Some of our kids are getting patents for the work that they've done, and it's so exciting to be part of that and just see the process. So, the big three for adulthood: accept responsibility even when things don't go the way that they're supposed to or that you want them to, the ability to make independent decisions. And okay, moms, dads, that means letting your kids make decisions that you don't agree with. Of course, you want to make sure that they're safe and all those kind of things. But sometimes our kids need to have a little bit of challenge that's not 100% in a padded room kind of challenge, right? And then being financially independent. And financial independence means being able to make money, being able to steward your money well, and pay your bills and those kind of things. So when you start with the end in mind with homeschooling, of course, absolutely think about what kind of academics you want to do for your kids. That's what we're all about at True North Homeschool Academy. But also, what kind of soft skills and what kind of adulting skills you want your kids to have. I know that I don't really love that term adulting because it makes a verb out of something that is a noun. We're adults, we don't adult in. Hopefully, we're living our lives with responsibility and some chutzpah. But these are three simple ways that you can help your kids develop that resiliency and think creatively about it. If you're not sure exactly how to help your kids accept responsibility, make independent decisions, or become financially independent, we'd love to help with you and come alongside you and brainstorm with you about how to make that happen. You can always jump into one of the Facebook groups, Homeschooling Looks Like Tribe group. So many great people in there willing to share their ideas and the things that they've done with their kids as well. So I hope this finds you well today. Listen, enrollment is open for the 24-25 school year. If you want I would say, science is filling up pretty fast, so don't wait too long to get, if you want specific sections and days and times, you want to go ahead and order those classes sooner than later. Some of the English classes are filling up. Spanish is always a bestseller. Informal logic is on fire this spring. So again, if you are seeing classes that you want specific days and times for, make sure that you get them sooner than later. I want to let you know on some classes we might be able to open up second sections, but don't count on it. So again, it's April. Wow, it's April already. Check out the catalog at truenorthhomeschool.academy. Let us know if you have any questions, and I will talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.